time for everyone in our culture to wake up. That includes men's activists. The hard, cold truth is that if we were a society in which men and women were really equal, we would have had a female president, even several female presidents by now. Over time, we would have had hundreds more female congressmen and senators. There would have been many more female Supreme Court justices and about 20 times more female CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. We would have had as many women as men in all spheres. All spheres? Yes, all spheres. It's a real problem that needs real solutions. If we're ever to be a society that equally values both sexes, it necessarily means that we need to see a drastic change to increase women's involvement in every realm of our governance, our corporations, and every other area of influence and power. But wait just a minute. If we're looking at equality in all spheres, we need to include everything. We wouldn't want people to just get dessert and not eat their vegetables. So let's look at the rest of the story. We will also need to see a lot more women who are mutilated, crippled, suicidal, incarcerated, marginalized, and quite frankly, dead. If women and men were really equal, we will need to see one additional woman murdered nearly every hour for an entire year in order to catch up with the number of yearly murders of men. We'll need 35 times more female garbage collectors and 85 times the current number of female sewage workers in order to be really equal to men. Workplace fatalities? A woman would need to die on the job every 2 hours in order to be equal to men. Totally equal? We'll need to see a sharp decrease in women entering college, especially those pursuing arts degrees. For those already in higher education, we'll need to yank about 3 million co-eds from our college and university campuses in order to make things really equal. Millions more women will need to engage in manual labor from a young age, preparing them for the physically arduous and dangerous vocations that will help them close the gender death gap. 4 times the current number of women will need to suicide, and that suicide rate will need to further skyrocket during divorces as women are routinely tossed out of their homes, severed from their children, and victimized by husbands that use the courts to seize their income. And then there are those who are imprisoned, so many more men. We would have to put 4 women in prison every second of every day for an entire year in order to reach the same number of women incarcerated as men. We would have to vastly accelerate the number of women who are executed for the murders they commit. We would also need to have nearly 1 million more girls be mentally impaired, as well as many more female geniuses in order to be really equal to men and boys. Add to that, over 123 million women and girls will need to be circumcised in order to be equal to men in all spheres. Sorry, ladies, but over 50 million of those genital mutilations will be without any anesthesia, just like the men's. We would need to have over 1,000 women dying a day in order to catch up with the deaths of males from diseases. This means we need to cut off all gender-specific health care funding for women until their mortality rate equals that of men. It's a harsh measure, but attaining equality is so much more important than women's health and well-being. We should not insult and degrade women by treating them any differently. Men die earlier and more often from every major disease, with the exception of Alzheimer's. And the sad fact is that the men have no chance to outnumber women in getting Alzheimer's, since they're dead long before they might get the chance to get it. And if we want to have truly equal outcomes, we'll need to take off about 5 years of each woman's life in order to be comparable to the male lifespan. And let's not forget that we would need 1,000 new homeless women each day for a year in order to reach the male totals. All of these examples make it very clear that exact equality in all spheres would be a big step down for women. Women would lose their privilege to take a lopsided concern for their well-being for granted. Equality in all spheres is a zany idea, as can be easily seen by imagining a white person seeking equal numbers for whites in the NBA or NFL, while simultaneously not wanting to share areas where blacks face disadvantage. By demanding equality at the top and enjoying inequality at the bottom, we're seeing what boils down to some people wanting dessert, but not wanting to eat their vegetables. Equality of outcome is not helpful, is deceiving, and is simply unattainable. It's much better for us to stop counting the differing incidents of genitalia at the top and just focus on equality of opportunity for everyone. And let's not forget, men are good.